In this video, I'll be doing an unboxing of the DJI Avata 2 and the DJI FPV Remote Controller 3, and I'll kind of go over some of the features of the new DJI Avata 2. So let's check it out. So this is the DJI Avata 2. I went ahead and bought this with the FPV Remote Controller 3. This is the Fly More combo with 3 batteries. You can also buy this as a Fly More combo with a single battery, or just get the DJI Avata 2 drone only. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and unbox this to see what's in there. So let's go ahead and start with opening the box and see what's in there. So looking at this right now, the one thing I notice is the fact that, one, you've got a bag. Now I believe this is with the one with the 3 batteries only. And the material of this is pretty much like most of the DJI drones have, which is kind of nice. It's not like the DJI Air 3 where it's kind of got that nice gray colored bag, but definitely this is a very nice bag. From the looks of it, you've got a stretchable side pocket here, a little elastic here, which is kind of nice. Definitely allows for you to put maybe a small water bottle possibly. You've got the same thing on this side, which is kind of nice. It does come with a belt here. And so this is essentially a sling bag. And I do like the quality of this. Look at this. This is nice. Definitely they've put some detail on this shoulder strap for this bag. And I notice here there's also a handle there, which is kind of nice. So nice bag overall. And definitely it's an oversized bag, which is great. We'll talk about this guy in a little bit. And let's check this out first. Let's see what's inside this sling bag. There are some accessories here, so we'll try to open this up first. Again, that's a nice little pocket, very nice material, typical DJI, very good quality material. We've got some additional items here. And a quick note here, there's definitely a lot of room for all the gear that comes with this Fly More combo. And you also have the Motion Controller 3 here, but it looks like there's enough space here to get your actual FPV remote controller in there, so that's kind of a good thing. But definitely a very roomy bag. I do like that. Very nice. We'll put this aside for now. So first thing that we want to look at here is that you've got some spare propellers here, and from the looks of it, this is a totally different design. This is like a 3-point propeller, and you do have some spares. This was in the actual lid of the sling bag, which is kind of nice. It's good to have some spares. In addition to that, of course, you've got the manuals, which is typical. And one thing about the manuals that we definitely want to look at, that I've seen and heard about, is their stickers. And let's check this out real quick. So what's different about these stickers that I do like, if I can open this carefully, it's not just the DJI logo. From what I could see, you actually get quite a bit of cool designs on the stickers. So definitely if you like stickers, I mean, they really did a nice job in adding a lot of different types of stickers, so I really like that. That's definitely a nice thing. And again, you also have a USB-C to USB-C cable for the drone itself. You have an Allen wrench here for your propeller screws, little gel stuff here. And in addition to that, you have more accessories here. From what I can see, let's check this out. So first thing I see here is the actual frames for your prescription lenses. So if you're going to use prescription lenses or order them from, like I order mine from Hans VR, these are your actual frames for the prescription lenses, so that is included in there. In addition to that, I can see here that there is a forehead pad here for the actual goggles, which is kind of nice having a spare, so that's another nice thing. You also have your other little USB-C to USB adapter or cable adapter here, so that's kind of nice to have as well. So let's see what other items we have here. Let's start with this actually. So one thing I want to note. In fact, let's do this. Let's just open everything out and get it out of the bags. It's going to be a lot easier. All right, so kind of wanted to get these out of their packages so we can talk about these and do a comparison to what the original Avata has. So in the Avata 2, you now have a motion controller here, motion controller 3. And what's different about it is definitely a lot smaller footprint, and it is a darker color material. And you also have now a trigger that lets you go forwards and backwards, which is kind of nice. And compare this to the original, you're definitely looking at way smaller, definite way smaller design. Even the button positioning is totally different here now, which is kind of cool. I think they try to make this a little bit more functional or work better with your hand. So definitely looking at that one versus this one, I definitely like the new design way better. I don't use it as much, but definitely they've done a cool job. And I like the fact that it's a way smaller footprint. Very nice overall. Here's your USB for power and stuff. So that's kind of nice. Let's look at some other items here. So you also have the charging hub. Now, unlike the Avata, on the Avata 2, what's different now is you have an actual charging hub. And of course, this is the Fly More combo with 3 batteries, so the 2 batteries are included. These batteries are way smaller than the one that we've got here with the other Avata. So they're a little bit, well, I would say they're a little bit thinner in size, but a little bit longer than the actual Avata. But definitely the battery is a little bit different there. And this charging hub is very much like the Air 3. Now, there's a plus and minus to this. You can either look at this as being way too bulky, more stuff to add to your backpack. But at the same time, you can say, okay, I've got a nice place to secure my extra batteries. And so that's kind of a nice thing. It is a fast charging hub, so that definitely that's a good plus, and we'll cover some details on that a little bit later. And this is like the standard, and of course they don't light up right now because I have to activate those when I charge them. But you definitely have the little LEDs as well as the button here, like the other drones, like the Air 3 as an example. So that's kind of cool how they did this design. So definitely that's really nice design. It's got the nice dark tone gray, which is really cool. So let's talk about now the FPV drone and what's different about it too. So I definitely really dig this new slick design. It's very, very modern and kind of cool looking compared to the original Avata. Now the Avata is kind of cool here, but to me it looked more like boxy style. Definitely kind of more like if you were building your own FPV drone. So definitely more boxy in this one. This one's got a nice, cleaner, smoother, kind of low profile kind of style. And as far as size, they kind of, this one almost looks a little bit wider, I would say. Very close to the size. So the other thing that stands out, like on this one, you've got the 5-tip propeller, whereas on this one it's 3, and I believe that's what adds to a lower decibel noise level on the Avata 2 compared to the Avata. So that's another nice thing about this guy here. And nice thing about this guy here, you've got, let me take this off. You've got the pinch and pull kind of battery. And I like this, definitely I like this style about pinch and pulling. Looks like it won't come off easily, but it definitely locks in nice, very smooth. It looks just just really uniform. Whereas on this one, the old Avata, the thing I didn't really like about it was you have to pull the power plug here to get this and then pinch it and then pull it off. So it's not that it's terrible, it's just that it was a bit more effort to get the battery in there, and when flying it, if it ever fell, that tends to every once in a while, you'll see the battery come out. I'll have to find out how well this one does, but that was another thing about the old Avata to this one. Now it's got the little cover here for your camera. I can take it off. Yeah, there we go. So you got the camera in here. Of course, I got the little protective plastic there, but pretty nice there. Very small little piece. Again, this design is very cool. It feels lightweight type plastic. Definitely really nice design overall. Now, what I really, really like about this new drone, one of the many things, of course, is the fact that you've got your micro SD and your USB connector right there. And notice how easy that is to get to. I definitely like that part of it. Let's see if I can get some light here. But that, to me, is a big plus. That was one of the things that in the Avata, it was terrible, or it is terrible, I should say. I've got the micro SD right here by where the propeller is, and getting to it, I'll tell you, just having to pull this out, you have to adjust it to where the propellers are out of the way, and then you can finally get to your micro SD card here, and then to pull it out, oh man, I tell you, that is a pain. So that is, and then trying to get that lid back in, or the little cap, is tough. So that was another thing about the Avata that I wasn't hot about. And on this one, I definitely really like it. The other things I see here on the new Avata 2 is that you've got, if you notice the cameras back here, they're not flat. If you look here, you've got the bottom cameras here for your drone, so it's able to determine where, height-wise where it's at from the ground. Whereas on this one, it's not just for bottom, but for back as well with these cameras being angled the way they are. So that is a nice new feature of that. I definitely like that they improved on that. So definitely that's pretty good. So trying to see what other things are new about this. Definitely, like I said, the design is very different. I really like the design down here. This looks really nice. The only thing I see about this here being a full upper body component, if for any reason this broke or got damaged really bad, if you have to replace it, I'm not sure what you would have to do to take that off compared to this guy here. If for any reason this got damaged on the Avata, the old Avata, it's just the bottom piece here. Of course, there's some effort there to take that off. So, but definitely that was something that, time will tell how that does overall. And so that's pretty much it from what I see on this here. I'll get to some more details here in a bit, but definitely I love the design. Very nice. Now let's look at the Goggles 3 here. So in the Goggles 3, we've got some foam protection here. From a design perspective, the Goggles 3 is very similar to the Integra, and face-wise, I mean, there are some differences obviously, but from design-wise, where it's similar is that on the Integra here, for the Avata, you have the battery in the back with a headband adjustment here, and it's the same thing here. You've got the battery in the back with the headband adjustment as well. Put that aside for now. Now, the things I'm noticing about this that's new, if you notice here, that looks like there's a hinge here. Now, this is the forehead part of the headband has this hinge here, and it's really not to flip the goggles up. It's really more for comfort adjustment, I guess, making sure that it's comfortable on your head, just getting the fit right. But it's not necessarily to flip the goggles up, so it's not for that. It doesn't go all the way. It's just a limited amount of give that it has. Now, the other thing I like that they did, and it's one of those, either you're going to like it or not, but in the Integra goggles, what they did is they did away with the buttons down here, or little twist buttons that they had for the diopter adjustments. And so they went with kind of like a slider type button here for the adjustment of the pupil distance, but they got rid of those diopter buttons. Instead, with the Integra, you have a bunch of lenses that you would have to use, and that was one difference there that they did with the Integra. And it's good in the way and it's bad. The bad part of it is that now I have to have those lenses to adjust your vision, and if it's different from one person and the other, then you're having to take the lenses out to do that. With the diopter buttons here with the new Goggles 3, the nice part about it is that you can adjust this and turn this to adjust the diopter setting for each eye, which is kind of nice. I'm glad that they came back with this design versus what was in the Integra. So definitely that is a nice thing. Other things here that are very similar to the Integra goggles is you've got the little 5D button here as well. Under the antenna here, you also have the back button on there for menu controls. So it's kind of nice here. Same design, nothing different there. Let me see. The look is a little bit different, very similar, but if you notice here, it looks like little breathing grills here, where this one is a different kind of cool design there. You also have these cameras in front, and what those are that you don't have with the Integra, these are essentially for picture-in-picture, so you can essentially see what's in front of you. Now, it is very narrow in vision, but you're able to see something at least. So I think that's kind of a plus. It's very nice. You've got the USB-C connector here. You got a power button there and some vents here. That's kind of nice. The other thing I'm noticing about this here, and if you look carefully, this isn't a foam rubber pad that goes around the face. It feels almost like a membrane. I mean, there is like nothing really there. And I'm thinking that this is more for getting a better fit. Now, another thing about the forehead pad here and this design, what it's supposed to do is put less stress on the face, make it more comfortable to wear, especially with this membrane here that doesn't really have any foam or anything. It's just kind of, if you look here, I mean, there is literally nothing there. But this is meant to put most of the weight or stress, not really stress, but most of the weight here on the forehead part rather than right here on the bridge of your nose. I've got a pointy nose, and with the Integra, any of the other goggles that they came out with, I have the same problem where the bridge of my nose starts to hurt after a while because it definitely pinches on that part of the nose. And so for me, it's kind of a discomfort to wear it for longer periods of time. So this will be interesting how this holds up, but it definitely is a different design overall, even on the nose part. And supposedly this is supposed to still control the amount of light going into where your eyes are in the goggle, so that's kind of a nice thing. And here's that diopter button adjustment. So if you notice, you can adjust the pupil distance here, which is kind of nice, and then of course rotate to adjust the diopter setting. You also have a little sensor here, and I believe that's to let the goggles know if you're wearing it or not. And then in addition to that, you also have the micro SD part here. So nice having the micro SD part of it here in the goggles. So pretty good overall. I definitely like this. So another thing we want to cover here is the actual FPV controller. Let me open this up. Gotta make sure you check all the other stuff here. Here's some manual inside this cardboard, which I needed to making sure I got nothing else in the box. So let's open this up. See, how do you open this? Oh. So I kind of was, I'm kind of a stick guy, as opposed to really using the Motion 3 controller. I'm more about using the FPV controller. I kind of like this a little bit better. If you notice here, you've got the sticks here, which is kind of like the FPV Controller 2. So on the 3, you've got the same thing. It looks pretty much the same as the FPV Controller 2 as far as the design and as far as how you put the sticks on, which is pretty much the same. And if you look at it, they're pretty much the same. This is the FPV Controller 2. Although this one feels a little bit heavier. This one actually does feel a little bit lighter from what I can tell. And the sticks here are a little bit darker in color. These are almost like a smoke dark gray, whereas they've gone back to kind of a shiny stainless steel look or nickel look, kind of nice. And like I said, they're pretty much the same. Not a lot to talk about. Now, this is OcuSync 3 Plus, whereas this is the OcuSync 4.0. Now, one obvious thing I just noticed here. If you notice here, there's no flip up antenna like you do with the FPV Controller 2. And they've kind of changed that. Now it's just kind of this cover right here. So that is one thing that is different. As far as buttons and all, that all looks the same from what I can tell. Nothing different about it. This has kind of a little vent thing here, but there's nothing here on this guy. So definitely, I guess this runs a little bit cooler. But again, everything else is pretty much the same. Again, internally, what's different technology-wise, OcuSync 3 Plus with this one being OcuSync 4.0 or OcuSync 4. So from what I gather, I believe this gives you greater distance capability, so that's another plus. So there you have it. That's the FPV controller. So what's the comparison between this Avata 2 bundle versus the DJI Avata? One of the new things technology-wise on the Avata 2 is you have easy acro functions, which is like the flip, roll, and 180-degree drift, which does not come in the Avata, the original Avata. Other things that you've got that are different here is that on this guy here, your camera or sensor is a 1/1.3 CMOS sensor, whereas on the Avata it was a 1/1.7 CMOS sensor. They're both 155 degrees ultra wide capable. They're both f2.8 apertures, so that is the same. They both do 4K video, but on the Avata 2 you can do 4K over 60 frames per second in HDR video mode. Also, this supports, on the Avata 2 you have the 10-bit D-Log M color mode, which on the Avata you don't have that, but you got the D-Cine-like color mode. You also have the, like I mentioned earlier, with the positioning of the camera here on the rear, you now have the both the downward and backward visual positioning. Whereas on this one, the fact that you only have them pointing down, you pretty much only have the downward. The other thing, again, on the DJI Avata 2, you've got the OcuSync 4 transmission for video, whereas on the Avata you have the DJI OcuSync 3 Plus. And what does that give you? Well, you get, from a distance, best case, you get about 13 kilometers with the OcuSync 4, whereas on the OcuSync 3 you can get about 10 kilometers with the older Avata. Also, the max transmission rate on the Avata 2 is about 60 megabits per second, which is better than the one on the regular Avata is about 50 megabits per second. You also get more internal storage on the Avata 2. You get about 46 gigs, which is way better compared to the Avata. And the Avata, you have about 20 gig internal storage. So they definitely went up on the amount of storage. Also, you do have the high-speed quick transfer capability on the Avata 2, which is kind of nice. Both the Avata and the Avata 2, they both have the Rock Steady and the Horizon Steady, so that's the same there. Weight-wise, this guy is actually, on the Avata 2, you're looking at about 145 grams for the drone or the FPV drone itself, whereas on the Avata, it's about 162 grams in weight. Charging time is a nice thing about this here with this fast charging hub. If you're using the fast charging hub for your batteries, you're looking at about 45 minutes to charge. Whereas if you didn't use this and just connect it to the drone, I believe with just the USB-C cable, you're looking about an hour and 28 minutes. On the Avata, you're looking at about 2 hours, 30 minutes to charge your batteries. So definitely a lot of good new stuff on the Avata 2. I'm kind of glad I bought this. Will I get rid of my Avata here? No, I believe I'm going to play with this. I might treat this a little bit more rougher, more daring, I should say, and use this. In fact, I'm thinking if you're, one thing to note about this is this is not true FPV. If you're an FPV purist, you may see this as more not necessarily true FPV. But if you're wanting to start and get into FPV, maybe you're more used to the Cineversion, FPV drones, and you're trying to get into this like I am, I definitely like this product. I like the Avata. I like the Avata 2 even more. So I think that's something good for anybody that wants to get into using FPV drones. So that's pretty good. So that is a nice thing. Good product. I'm glad I bought it. I got to try it and see how it does. And thanks for watching this video. Please click on the like and also subscribe if you have not. That does help with my stats. It also helps me continue doing videos for you guys. And thanks for watching and have a good day.